Hey there, welcome back to our AI in Action series here on Tech Savvy 101, your go-to podcast for learning how to use AI tools in real time. I'm Sarah Baker, your Tech Savvy bestie, with another time-saving AI trick that's going to make your life so much easier. Whether you're an experienced AI user or just getting the hang of things when it comes to artificial intelligence, stick with me as I share some of my favorite tips, tricks, tools, and shortcuts to save you hours each week within your business. In these episodes, I'm not just talking about AI tools, I'm showing you how to use them in real time. If you're listening to this episode right now, don't worry, you'll find the link to the YouTube episode in the show notes. Feel free to listen along right now and then grab the link afterwards. Here's what you can expect from today's episode. We're talking about how to make ChatGPT match your unique brand voice. How do you get ChatGPT to sound awesomely, authentically like you? I'm going to walk you through why this is essential for creating consistent messaging, how to guide ChatGPT with tone and style instructions, and since this wouldn't be an episode of AI in action without it, we're going to dive in with some hands-on examples for how to make your content truly stand out. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss the rest of this series, and leave a review if today's episode helps you feel more confident using ChatGPT. And if there's another AI tool that you want me to cover in future AI in Action episodes, just let me know. So before we even get into how to use AI to create content in your brand voice, we need to take a step back and answer a question that you may be asking yourself, which is, so what is a brand voice? And if I'm a small business owner or a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, do I even need one? And the answer is, yeah, you do. According to Lucid Press, consistent branding increases revenue by 23%. So we're going to build that brand voice together today. Defining your brand voice can help you in so many ways. It can establish positive brand perception. It can create brand recall and recognition amongst your audience. Think of your brand voice as the blueprint for all communication that leaves your business. Even if you are the only person working for your business right now, down the road, if you bring on a VA or a team member, you want to have super clear voice guidelines. So if and when your team grows, all communications coming out of your business sound like one voice. Think of your brand voice as how you speak to your customers. You're building better customer relationships when you speak to your customers consistently, and your brand voice has the power to do that. Consistent brand voice builds trust, recognition, and credibility, the know, like, and trust that we all work so dang hard to establish for our businesses. So before you even open a browser or use a single AI tool, not just ChatGPT, but I'm talking Claude and Perplexity and Jasper, you need to have a rock solid understanding of your brand voice. Without guidance, ChatGPT or any of those other AI platforms, responses are going to feel generic, too formal, or inconsistent with you and your brand. Your audience wants to get to know the real you. And in order for you to be able to use AI to create your messaging, you have to let AI know the real you as well. Before we even get into the demo in this episode, my pro tip here is that you have to have a wicked clear brand voice. You have to know your own brand voice. Have a rock solid understanding of your own brand voice and who you're talking to. If you don't have a super solid understanding of your ideal customer and your audience, then that, my friend, is your next step. You need to know your audience as well, backward, forward, upside down, with one arm tied behind your back while blindfolded and hopping on a pogo stick. That is not an AI tip. That is marketing and copywriting 101. Because if you can't speak to your ideal customers' wants, needs, desires, hopes, and dreams, regardless of the kind of content you're creating, and whether you're using AI or writing it yourself, if you don't know your audience, your marketing is going to miss the mark. Now we're going to get into the demo, the actual AI in action part of this episode. First off, if you need a refresher on the anatomy of a great ChatGPT prompt, I encourage you to go back to episode number 105, ChatGPT prompt writing, how to get juicy results every time. If you haven't listened to it, go check it out. All of the prompts from this episode will be in the show notes. So we're logged in, and the first thing we're going to tell it is, I'd like you to help me create a customized brand voice prompt for my business. In a moment, I'm going to provide you with information about me, my business, my offers, and my overall tone. Please ask me any additional questions you need in order to build out a complete brand prompt. Do you have any questions before we get started? This is not my paid version. This ChatGPT that I'm working in does not know anything about me. So before we get started, here are a few things I might need to know. And it's already given me a list: business overview, target audience, brand personality, tone and language, brand values and mission, competitors and industry landscape, and content purpose. So just from that first prompt, it's already given us a wealth of information that we can provide it with. You could easily just kind of follow along like a choose your own journey with ChatGPT and answer the questions they've got, or you could follow along with the prompts as I've laid them out in this episode, or you could do both and see which one gets you better results. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to brain dump about yourself and your business. If you have an I help statement, use your I help statement. The next prompt is: first, I'll provide you with details about myself and my business. I'm going to use my own business because that's the business I'm the most familiar with. So ChatGPT has replied and said, great, feel free to share the details and I'll be ready to help you craft the perfect brand voice prompt once I have all the information. I'm going to dump in that information I have about me. Now, already it's coming back and asking me more questions: tone, brand personality, audience pain points, content style, key values and mission, and call to action. It's already pulled out quite a lot of information about my business. And all I said so far was, I'm a technology and automation coach. I help women entrepreneurs simplify tech and harness the power of AI and automation to build profitable, scalable online businesses, saving time and reducing overwhelm. I help entrepreneurs overcome their I'm just not tech savvy mindsets so they can scale their businesses with confidence. I am also the host of the Tech Savvy 101 AI and Automation Made Simple podcast. So just based off about 3 sentences, it's already pulling information. It's saying, you mentioned helping clients overcome tech-related overwhelm, and then it's asking me follow-up questions. Would you describe your tone as supportive, empathetic, and motivational? Or do you lean more towards being practical and solution-oriented? It's trying to pull out details from me. Let's follow along with the prompts as I have it engineered. But like I said, it might be a very interesting A/B test to go and just follow along with ChatGPT's prompting and see what gets you better results. So the next prompt that I'm offering up is, now I'm going to share the details of my, in this case, depending on your business, it might be different: products, services, offers. So next, I'm going to share the details of my offers with you. And I'm going to hit enter to let it know what's coming. Now for this one, I have a very long detail, because the more information you give it, the better, right? You can see if you're watching on the screen, I've shared a huge chunk of information about my software platform, my AI Evergreen Content Machine course, and my Tech Savvy Sales Academy. I encourage you for this second brain dump to this is the meat, right? So share, for example, I included information about bonuses for one of my courses. I included some of the language that I really like using when I talk about my AI Evergreen Content Machine course. I pulled straight off my website. You can include pricing information. You can even include courses or offers or products that have not yet launched that you are thinking of launching. For example, my Tech Savvy Sales Academy course is launching in April of 2025. I just included that. And I said launching April 2025. So ChatGPT has come back. And what I like is that it has summarized and said each one is packed with value and clearly designed to make tech and automation accessible for entrepreneurs. So it's starting to understand me, my business, and my offer suite. It says, with this in mind, I'm getting a sense of how your brand voice should combine empowerment with simplicity, making tech tools feel easy and approachable while conveying expertise. I love that. That is a spot on for my brand. And it's continuing to ask questions about Side Hustle Pro Kit, my software, about each of my courses, and then coming up with call to actions for these offers. Do you typically use a direct call to action or more inspirational call to action? Are there any specific emotional triggers you'd like to hit with these call to actions? These are amazing questions. One of the things I like to do anytime I offer it a large amount of information like I just did is kind of do a pause, and I use the prompt, please summarize what you've learned about my offer so far, to confirm that you captured all of the details. So before you get all the way to the end of your prompt and then you realize it doesn't understand my offer, what I've done is I've asked it, hey, just repeat it back to me. So it's taking the information I provided and it's kind of regurgitated it and giving me a description, key features, target audience, core benefit for each of my offers and an outcome, bonuses. I'm skimming this quickly. It's even giving me key insights of my overall product suite, which I think is really awesome. And then it asks me, does this summary align with your understanding of your offers? Feel free to add any additional details or correct anything if necessary. This is iterative prompting. We discussed this in episode 106. What the heck is iterative prompting and why does it matter? So if you need a refresher on that, episode number 106 will help you have a better understanding of iterative prompting and the importance of having that back and forth conversation with ChatGPT to get the really nuanced results that you're looking for. However, I am great with this. I think that it's done a great job summarizing the information I provided. So I'm going to go to my next prompt. And I'm going to say, next, I'm going to share information about my ideal client with you. Please ask me any questions you think would be helpful in building out my ideal customer profile. So I'm going to let it know what's coming and hit enter. And then amazing, it's even giving me some really specific questions about demographics, business stage, pain points, goals and aspirations, tech and learning preferences, objections, values and beliefs, community and social preferences, and decision making. So this is really, really comprehensive. I encourage you to make sure that you're covering things like who is your dream client? What are their biggest goals and dreams? What are their challenges and pain points? And why are they drawn to you? Because remember, we want to be inserting you into all of your messaging. All right. So I have shared my dream client information and now ChatGPT has kind of reorganized it and shared it back to me saying, here's her demographics, the business stage, the business characteristics, the pain points, all of the things, the desires and dreams, and why my ideal customer is drawn to me. It's even giving me ideas for key emotional triggers for messaging, brand voice considerations, and then asking me, does this profile match your understanding of your ideal client? It's giving me things like brand voice consideration, friendly and relatable, supportive and empowering, confident and practical, and simplicity and clarity. Those are all things that I value in my brand messaging. So I am happy with that, but it's also asking, would you like to add or refine any details, especially around her motivations or how she prefers to engage with your content and offers? So this is a great point to continue to iterate and refine your messaging before continuing. Next up, we're going to be adding in your voice. This is the most essential part of building your brand voice prompt. So I'm going to give it the prompt and say, now I'm going to share information with you about my brand voice. This is the tone, vibe, and overall feeling I want all content from my business to be written in. Please ask me any follow-up questions you have about the information I provide. Now, how do we share our voice with AI? You can do it in a couple of different ways. It's very important that your personality comes across in whatever you're sharing. We're talking about your tone, your style, your core personality traits, as well as what you avoid and how you want your content to make your audience feel. This is a lot of information. The best way to get that information across is show, don't tell, right? Share content you've already written that you feel is a great example of your brand. This could be a long form Instagram caption. It could be a blog post. It could be a podcast transcript, anything you've written in your own brand voice, preferably something that you didn't use AI to create, and share it. If you have the paid version, this file attachment will be available and you can actually upload full transcripts. So for me, I have transcripts of every one of my podcasts. I would probably just upload my transcripts. I could upload 3, 4, 5, 6 episodes and AI would immediately have a wealth of information to learn about my brand, my voice, how I communicate. And then that would be a great example. If you are using the free version, like this example is, you just probably need to cut and paste and you can drop it into the box in long chunks of text, but let it know. Example 1, post. Example 2, post. Example 3, post. Now, a pro tip here that I really like is if you are brand new to content creation and you don't have any long form content, maybe you've never written a blog post and you haven't recorded a podcast and you're not sure what else to use to really convey your brand voice, If you have found an example of someone else's content that really just has the kind of vibe that you are looking for, you could absolutely share that and just let ChatGPT know this is not mine so that it doesn't get confused. But tell it what you do like about that content and then share that and say, I'd like to emulate this style and the overall tone of this type of content. If you have no content and you don't want to use someone else's content, you could say, hey, I don't have any examples of my own writing or content. Could you help me? Could you ask me some questions to help me further develop my brand voice, please? And ChatGPT will guide you through to help you refine what your voice is. So I uploaded an entire podcast transcript. You can see it was a lot of content that I dumped in there. But the more content you're giving it, the more information it's able to get about you, right? And let's see how it analyzed it. From this, I can get a strong sense of your brand voice and the overall tone and approach you use with your audience. Here are the key elements I've identified that shape your brand voice: friendly and approachable, supportive and encouraging, simplifying complex concepts, humor and lightheartedness, action-oriented and practical, confident but relatable, empathy and shame. I'm thrilled with this. This is like spot on, exactly what I'm aiming for. And it was able to ascertain all of that from one podcast transcript. It's also summarized my brand voice and given us next steps. And so it's asking me, does this voice summary align with how you want your content to sound across the board? Would you like to tweak any aspects? I'm going to say this is spot on and let it know that I'm happy with it. I would definitely say, if at all possible, give it spoken content. I love transcripts for this reason, because you are so much less likely to filter yourself when you're talking. You are you when you're speaking, right? You're much less likely to be overly formal when you're writing. Sometimes you go back and you edit yourself out of your content. And we don't want that. We want you to shine through. So even if you don't have a recording from a podcast transcript, open up your phone and start a voice note and just talk. Just stream of consciousness about your business and all the things that have to do with your business, your offers, your products, all of it. And then take that recording, use a tool I will drop some recommendations, but Otter AI is one, Descript is another. These are great tools to give you a transcript and then drop the transcript and your goal. And then the next step, and this is so important, don't skip it. You have to share, like I said, you got to put you in your content. So we need to share what makes you, what makes your business unique, and that's storytelling. So we need to teach ChatGPT about the stories behind your business. What I'm going to let it know now is, now I'm going to share some stories with you so that you can use this information throughout my content to add personal anecdotes in my content. Storytelling is an important part of my content. You need to tell ChatGPT how much you value storytelling. Now, at this point, if you are logged into your account, this thread where we're building your brand voice prompt is saved, and you can jump back and forth between a desktop computer or a tablet and your phone. I highly recommend at this point that you switch to a phone, open up that voice feature, and talk it out. Because at this point, you just want to be a storyteller. Tell ChatGPT all the things. Why did you start your business? What inspired you? Have you had any major road bumps along the way with your business, or a major aha moments throughout you running your business? Or what transformations do you aim for your clients to achieve? Any client success stories that you want to share? A proud moment or milestone in your business up to this time? What are your dreams for the future of your business? This is your time to just dump all this information into ChatGPT, because this is how your content is going to sound like you, because you're telling it stories. I have a couple of my stories already written out, but if I was doing this from scratch, I would absolutely do the voice note trick. It's so much easier, and you're going to end up giving it a lot more content by speaking than you would if you were typing, because you're just going to say, okay, that's good enough. That's enough. If you're speaking, just let it go. So now it's summarizing my story, key themes and takeaways, and talking about how these stories that I just shared with it can be integrated into content. and it's already coming up with ideas for content, how I can use this in content moving forward. Podcast episodes, social media posts and blog posts, course content and workshops. And it's asking me, does this feel like an accurate representation of your story? And asking if I want to add any more highlights. Now, to bring it all home, if you are happy with all of the content that has come out so far, the last prompt to tell it is, please summarize everything I've shared with you today into a polished summary of my brand voice prompt. And this, my friends, is what our goal was, is to get that polished brand voice summary that you can then use over and over to get consistent content that sounds like you, that speaks to your business, speaks to your ideal customer. Let's see what we've got. So this is my brand voice prompt for me, my business. It's summarizing my tone, my voice characteristics, my core values in communication. It's summarizing my personal story integration and how to use my brand voice. It's saying this brand voice guide will ensure that every piece of content you create feels like it's coming from a trusted friend and expert, someone who's been through the struggles and is now showing others how to overcome them. Does this feel like a good summary? Would you like to add or change anything before we finalize it? I'm just going to say, sounds great. And that is how you build your brand voice prompt. I hope you got a lot of great information out of today's episode, and I would love to hear how building your own brand voice prompt is going. Reach out to me on Instagram at the.sarahbaker and let me know, or send the show a text. Click on the link in the show notes and let me know how your brand voice prompt is working for you. And there you have it, another time-saving AI trick ready for you to start using today. All of the prompts mentioned in today's episode can be found in the show notes. And if you want to follow along as I built my brand voice prompt during this episode, check out the video demo in the show notes or catch it on YouTube. If today's episode helped you improve your ChatGPT results, make sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. I'll see you really soon.